Hi there and welcome to the next video. It has been a little while. Life gets in the way. My daughter just bought her first flat, so we've had to do a lot of renovation to that before we could get in, and that's obviously more important than my hobby of a Jaguar car. So that's where I've been. That's what I've been doing. Obviously not Jaguar related, so or even car related, so no videos. But we're towards the end of that now. I've got some time. Gonna have to spend doing some work on the car. So a couple of things. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. I wish I'd put the springs in when I was putting the rear suspension in. It would have been easier, I think. There is a snapped off bolt from the cross brace. I think it would have been easier to drill that out when with the axle not in the way. Also simple things like I've got to replace the fuel filter, and it's, it'd been a lot easier without it being there. So I'll get on and do some of those. Some I'll show, some it's not worth showing, and we'll go from there. Okay, so the fuel filter goes way up in there. So that's where the fuel filter goes, and it's got this quick release type fittings on it. I do have a set like this with those little various different little bits, but effectively what you're trying to do, this is the inlet. Maybe if I get the light just there, you can see, hopefully you can see there, that the top of that circle is pushed in a bit. So I struggled a while with these inserts. One of them, the top one came off easy enough, but I couldn't get the bottom one off. And even when I had it hanging down under here where it was much better access, I still couldn't get the bottom one to open. But if you look at it, this is what you're trying to do. You're effectively try and get some light as well. You're effectively pushing that bit just there. Actually, get the focus better. Pushing that edge back up. So if you look at the flat, you got like a flat on here, and if you look at the side of it, you can see you've got a white plastic bit there. And so what you need to do is get your pliers on there, or some form of pliers, and push it back. See how that's moving the middle? And just trying that, they came off much easier than those clip things. So just a simple heads up how to get those off. So the next thing is the bracket that was holding the filter. There's like a 8mm nut there. You can get to that just about. You need quite a deep socket, and the tiny little 1/4 inch 8mm sockets. This thread was sticking up too much, so I couldn't undo it. But this over this side is a 10mm. That's what I had, and of course in my spares from stripping down the XKR a few years ago, I've got some nice shiny ones, so we'll put it back in with that. But also I just want to give this a clean up, get rid of the worst of the rust and all the flakiness, and then put some primer and some paint on it. Let's get on with that. So cleaned out with wire brush and then went over it with some rust converter. Still needs a little bit more to dry off or to convert. It's a nice sunny day, so we'll stick it outside in the sunshine, and then we'll spray it and get it back in. Okay, just let me show you. I've got the new fuel filter in there. It is a bit of a pain to get it in there, but yeah, it's there. So these two here, this one's just a loose bolt at the moment. Those two are for the diagonal support struts or braces, whatever you want to call them. And you can see this one, there's a captive nut on the other side, but this one snapped, so I'm going to have to drill that one out. And effectively that's what I did, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago I did that one. So I'm going to drill this one out, dot punch it, drill it, and then yeah, it's a bit of a faff getting a if you can see out there, right round. There you go. You can see that the bolt goes through, and there's a big square bolt. There's a big square nut there, and you can see it's been. Ignore the one that's off in the background. This. Ignore this one. Oh, that's what we're going to do. So effectively, we're going to drill out here. That's me drilled through most of the bolt. Going to try and knock it off now instead. Wish me luck. So after a lot of swearing and struggling and sweating in this hot temperature in the UK, over 30, I think it's 32 today, which I know in a lot of other countries that's quite low, but we're not used to it in the UK, so there you go. So this bolt here is one that I've drilled out the old one. This one I drilled out a few years ago. That's just some of the mess coming out, the swarf, etc. So yeah, it was a bit of a struggle, but it's done now. Okay, we're putting the springs back in pretty much the same way as described by John Dee on To The Garage. So what you do is you use a couple of tie wraps. Take it from quite a way up. You don't want to be pulling it sideways, you want to be pulling it down in effect. So something like that. What you're trying to do is make one big assembly, which is easier to handle than half a dozen bits that are all trying to fight against each other. Shut the garage door. So there you go. That's pretty much what you want to start with. Okay. What I want to do now is to push this damper in, and then put a pin in to stop it from coming out. Basically, once you get it moving, you can keep it moving, but it's a little bit stiff to start with. Let's turn it around so that you can see the way I'm doing it a different way to John. He pushed it down on a socket on his bench, but there you go. It is going. Well, that's what I need. Don't need it to fall down. Typical. It is coming back up. Right. Oh, come on, go down. There you go. Okay. And that stop comes back up. Okay. So now we've got an assembly. It's only, it's shorter than it would be if that was sticking out. It's one piece. It's easier to go in, hopefully. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so this is the passenger side. I've already done the driver's side. So here's the assembly that we've got to try and get in there. I have loosened off the bolts underneath the diff as John did, which gives you, an extra couple of a few millimeters in there, so that should help, and hopefully we can get it in there. Just checking that that's around the right way. It is. That key, as it were, for the spring, that piece there, is on the inside, directly opposite me. Actually, I've just spotted something, and I'm going to do the other bit first. I've also put this level sensor, this is for the HID headlights, it's bolted in to the new subframe, so I'll put that back in too. I'm not so sure how much of this you're going to be able to see, because I'm going to have to be standing right in here. I'm going to be standing here struggling away, so it's about as good as I can get for now. So that's got it all in, except for the damper is not in the right place, and the bolt that goes through the damper is not in the right place. It's actually about that far too short. So what we need to do is apply some pressure to under here. Oh, wait. Get that under there. Just lift that up in a controlled manner until it lines up with the hole, and then needs a bit of a turn by the looks of things, bit of rotation. It's not far off where it needs to be, I think, about here somewhere. Something like that. No, you want to go the other way, Roger. To tell. That's probably about right, isn't it? Gentle tap from the other side. There we go, all the way through. Cool. You write that down now. So that brings us to the end of this particular video, and there are a few other things I've been doing that I didn't record, such as connecting up the calipers, installing and connecting those up. I do have a problem with the bleeding of the brakes. I've had a couple of independents try and do that for me over the last few years, but I've always had a very long brake pedal travel, so I'm going to look into that. Got some thoughts on how to debug where that problem's occurring. I also did the front suspension. There's some washers, too thin, too thick washers to adjust the camber on each side. I remembered that when I did this front driver's side, I mislaid one of those washers somehow, and the others were corroded. So I bought some new ones and I just hadn't got around to changing them. So I've done that as well. But now we're effectively at the point where I need to get back to the bodywork. All the panels are roughly around 240 grit, so I need to move that on finer sandpaper up to about 600, and then build the spray booth, etc. But yes, that's pretty much where we are. So caught up with what's been going on. Apologies for the absence of videos over the last few weeks. So thank you for watching, most appreciated, and I'll see you in the next one.